Your Ram dealer will look you in the eye and tell you your transmission fluid never needs to be changed. But the company that actually builds that transmission says your dealer is wrong. And if you listen to the wrong advice on this, you could be staring at a $5,000 repair bill that was completely avoidable. Number 1. The lifetime fluid lie. If you own a Ram 1500 with the 8-speed automatic, go check your owner's manual for a transmission fluid change interval. It is not in there. Ram calls it lifetime fluid. They expect you to never touch it. Here is the problem. A German company called ZF actually builds that 8-speed. They make it for Ram, BMW, Jaguar, and a bunch of other brands. And around 2019, ZF quietly updated their own recommendation to about 93,000 miles. So the company that engineered every gear and clutch pack inside this thing says change the fluid. The company that slaps their logo on the truck says do not bother. I think the reason is obvious. By 93,000 miles, your warranty is gone. If the transmission grenades at 110,000 miles because the fluid was never touched, that is your wallet and not theirs. And ZF's own testing defines lifetime as producing acceptable rates of failure, which is not 0, just a number they can live with. But the fluid type is where things get really dangerous. Number 2, wrong fluid will kill your truck faster than skipping the change entirely. Ram does not use one universal transmission fluid across the lineup. The 6-speed behind the Cummins diesel in the 2500 and the 3500 uses ATF plus 4, but the 8-speed in the 1500 takes completely different fluid. That fluid is ZF Lifeguard 8, sold as Mopar 8 and 9-speed ATF, the same fluid with a different label. Pour ATF plus 4 into that 8-speed, and you are going to get shudder, hard shifts, and potentially cooked internals. I worked on a Ram van where a chain shop used Dexron during a rebuild instead of proper Chrysler fluid. Within 10,000 miles, the torque converter was chattering so loud you could hear it from the parking lot. And your 3,500 trucks with the Aisin 6-speed use another fluid entirely. 3 completely different specs depend on which Ram you drive. I promise you there are quick lube shops dumping universal ATF into all 3 right now. Ask what they are pouring in. Better yet, watch them do it. Now that you know the right fluid matters, the next question everyone asks is when to change it. And this is where things get real. Number 3, the high mileage fluid change gamble. Say you bought a used Ram with 150,000 miles and the previous owner never touched the fluid. Should you change it? Half the internet will tell you absolutely not. You will destroy the transmission. I see this argument in my comment section constantly, and there are real stories behind that fear. A guy on a Ram forum had a 3500 with 120,000 miles that was shifting like butter. He took it to a shop for a fluid change. The next day it would not shift out of first gear. The shop conveniently had a buddy ready to rebuild it. But here is what actually happened. That transmission had wear that had been building for years. The old burnt fluid was acting like a bandage, masking the damage. Fresh fluid stripped the bandage off. A rebuilder I trust said it perfectly. New fluid has never and will never damage a transmission. That is like saying oil changes damage engines. The owner who waited 150,000 miles caused the damage. The fluid change just told the truth about it. Speaking of ways to destroy your transmission while trying to help it, this next one is the worst. Number 4, never flush your Ram transmission. I think transmission flushes are one of the biggest scams in the industry, and I will not budge on that. A transmission shop owner I know loves when customers get flushes at chain shops because they always show up at his place 2 weeks later for a rebuild. A flush forces fluid backward under pressure and shoves debris into valve bodies and solenoid passages where it causes real damage. Chrysler put out a service bulletin that says their vehicles do not require regular flushing, drain and fill only, pull the pan, let gravity work, swap the filter. you will only get 6 to 8 quarts out on a Cummins truck that holds 17.5. Do 2 drain and fill services 5,000 miles apart, and you will swap the majority of the fluid without pushing junk where it does not belong. Okay, so you know the right fluid, you know when to change it, you know how, but your truck might be trying to tell you something right now. Number 5. The 8-speed shutter is a fluid problem Ram will not admit. If you have ever felt a weird vibration in your Ram 1500 between first and fourth gear, almost like somebody tapped your rear bumper, that is the torque converter clutch struggling to lock up. The slippery stuff in the fluid wears out over time, and the surfaces get glazed over like old brake pads. Fresh fluid fixes this when you catch it early. A guy with a 2017 Ram 1500 changed his fluid at 120,000 miles and said the truck felt like it rolled off the lot. But every single service bulletin Ram has put out for this calls for computer recalibrations, not fluid changes. I think Ram avoids mentioning the fluid because it blows a hole in the lifetime fluid story. If the fluid wears out, the whole lifetime claim falls apart. And if you think your dealer is going to help you sort this out, sit down for this next one. Number 6. Dealers will refuse your fluid change and then overcharge you when they finally agree. Same story from Ram owners all over the country. Call the dealer and ask for a transmission fluid change, and the dealer says no. One owner at 117,000 miles was told the fluid is lifetime and turned away. Another owner had to ask 3 separate times before his dealer caved at 90,000 miles. And the pricing is brutal. $800 to $1,500 at the dealer for the 8-speed transmission. The reason is the integrated pan design, where the filter is molded into the pan. So every service means buying a whole new pan, up to $400 for the part. A PPE aftermarket deep aluminum pan lets you just swap a $30 filter and reuse the pan forever. Some of these dealers do not even know the right fluid. I have seen posts where dealers quoted ATF plus 4 for the 8-speed transmission, which is the wrong product entirely. If this is saving you money, hit subscribe. I cover Ram maintenance like this every week. But even if you get the right fluid at the right price, the Cummins trucks have a trap that catches people all the time. Number 7. The dual filter trap on Cummins trucks. The 6-speed behind the Cummins has 2 filters, a flat one inside the pan and a spin-on canister on the outside of the case. If you only swap one, you have done half the job. I have seen trucks come through where a quick lube place only changed the pan filter because they did not know the second one existed. That spin-on filter also has a soft plastic nipple it threads onto. Cross-thread it, and you are looking at a much bigger problem. Use Mopar filters, not aftermarket. A guy on the forums used an AutoZone filter on his Ram at 115,000 miles and immediately lost reverse every morning. The aftermarket filter was missing the drain back valve, so it emptied overnight, swapped to Mopar, and the problem vanished the same day. Now we need to talk about the transmission in the big Rams that was supposed to be the tough one. Number 8. The Aisin 6-speed almost tanked Ram's heavy-duty reputation. If you bought a Ram 3500 with the high-output Cummins between 2013 and 2023, you got the Aisin 6-speed. It was supposed to be stronger and more capable for heavy towing. Then the 2022 models started grenading, and the 2023 trucks had the same problem. An internal snap ring was failing and taking out forward gears, sometimes under 7,000 miles. The federal government opened an investigation covering over 188,000 Ram trucks. One fleet owner on Reddit lost transmissions on 6 trucks. 2 were on their 3rd unit. This was a manufacturing defect, not a fluid issue. But the Aisin uses its own unique fluid and has an aggressive service schedule. 30,000-mile drain and fill service. If you have been skipping maintenance because you figured this thing was bulletproof, rethink that. And if you are thinking about doing all this yourself, the 8-speed has a surprise for you. Number 9. Doing it yourself on the 8-speed is harder than you think. I am all about doing your own work, but the 8-speed in the 1500 is a real pain to service in a driveway because there is no dipstick. Fluid level is set through a fill plug on the side of the case. The reading is only accurate between 86 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit. You need a scan tool showing real-time transmission temperature while you work. The truck has to be level at the pan, not the body, which means raising the rear about 8 to 9 inches. The fill port has almost zero clearance because the exhaust crossover runs right underneath. Guys on the forums build custom fill tools out of brass tubing because regular hoses melt on the exhaust. Miss the level by half a quart and you have problems. Put too much in and the gears whip it into foam. Put too little in and your clutches start to slip. The Cummins trucks are way easier. Standard dipstick, fill through the tube, check on the marks. If you have never done a transmission service before, start with the Cummins. So does any of this actually matter long term? Because one Ram owner took it to a level I have never seen on any truck. Number 10. One owner proved fluid changes are the whole game. A member on one of the Ram 1500 forums documented over 855,000 miles on a single 8-speed transmission, mostly while towing heavy. His secret was not some fancy additive. He changed the fluid every 100,000 miles, and that was his entire maintenance plan. At 700,000 miles, a solenoid went out, nothing to do with fluid. He grabbed a salvage yard transmission and kept rolling. 855,000 miles on a transmission the manufacturer says needs zero maintenance. If that guy had listened to his dealer and never touched the fluid, there is no way that truck would reach 200,000 miles. So here is the bottom line. The guys who take care of the fluid early never end up at the rebuild shop. The guys who listen to the dealer and never touch it always do. And if your dealer tells you the fluid is lifetime, smile, say thank you, and go find somebody who actually knows what they are doing. If you want to know which old Rams are still worth buying, I made a video called 10 legendary old Ram trucks that still destroy every 2026 pickup. Go watch it next. If you are shopping for a used Ram, 2 of those trucks on the list are the best deals in the entire truck market right now, and nobody is talking about them.